my second live TikTok. Okay, so I'm not gonna be on here long because in like about 45 minutes I gotta go walk the dogs. Most of the people that I follow are probably asleep. So I'm going to do some bound fighting in the dark. I owe Instagram a video, and this may get to them, it may not. So first we're gonna do do's and don'ts of bound fighting. So for all y'all who have not had martial art training, I have been doing this since I was fucking 7 years old. I have been training with my hands bound since I was 12. This is not recommended in any way, shape, or form to anyone who does not know martial arts. In other words, the scientific term for this is please don't try this shit at home. I can do a question and answer after for TikTok. But for right now, I'm going to teach you guys some blocks with your hands and your knees while your hands are bound. Also, let me state that the only time you probably are ever going to be in a situation where you have to fight people with your hands tied is in the movies or on TV. In real life, I highly recommend that you do not attempt to do the shit that you can do. However, I am showing you that it is a possibility that you can fight with your hands tied. This belt is not exactly wrapped as tight as I normally do. So while I take the time to tell you guys who the hell I am on TikTok, my name is James Williams Jr., but you can call me JW Grey Wolf. I use the name Grey Wolf to honor my Cherokee heritage for what that is worth. With everything that has been going on Native TikTok, there have been a lot of issues with the Native American community. May God bless them and rest the missing and the dead. Alright, so again, this is a belt. For everybody who doesn't know, I do martial arts. For everybody who doesn't give a damn, this probably isn't the place for you. What I'm going to do is some do's and don'ts of martial arts with your hands bound behind your back and in front of your face. We're going to do behind your back first. There are very few blocks that I can teach you with your hands tied behind your back. Doesn't mean that you can't do it, just means that they probably won't fucking work. So first, I'm going to wrap my hands behind my back. Alright? Second, I'm also filming this on fucking YouTube, so anything that you miss, you'll be able to see. I am sorry if I am not answering your questions at this moment. I apologize profusely, but my hands are a little tied. No pun intended. My hands literally are tied. Alright, so blocking with your hands behind your back is not impossible. It's highly problematic because you can't really do anything with your arms. So you will have to rely on those who have studied Muay Thai. You would know these blocks proficiently well, where you are blocking with your knees, your shin, and your thighs. So basically, if someone is coming to sweep you, you would stand back and lift your legs so that they would go under. After they do that, you would return with a front kick. Do not let both of your feet leave the ground. At any time when your hands are behind your back, you do not do this. Ooh, that was a little bit of drool there. But yeah, you don't do that. Now, you also should not do this. As you can see, my balance is off, so the kick is going in any direction but the direction that it was supposed to, which was right at the camera. Alright. So since your hands are tied behind your back, you need to keep your shit at basics. Alright? So basics. Stepping side. Front kick that way. That was like a little jump front kick. You can do the elevated jump kick. You know, this one. I don't recommend it because if they push off your foot or you don't land solid, you're going to land on your fucking back. Possibly breaking your arms. Possibly leading to you getting your ass kicked. There's a bug biting my neck. Okay. So your hands are behind your back. I'm going to keep this shit basic. I'm going to keep this shit short. I'm going to keep this shit sweet. There are some kicks that I recommend that you do. You do not have to agree. You do not have to follow. I am not Jesus. I am not always right. But I am going to take accountability for the shit that I teach you. Because I don't want to teach you some shit that's going to get your shit fucked up. Now, let's work on escapes. Because that's the most important thing you need to know. Because your hands are tied behind your fucking back. Alright. So, we're going to keep it basic. Guys coming at you. Front kick's good. Outside to inside crescent kick and escape. So if you're going to use your right leg's behind you. Boom. Now, from here, he's going that way, so your ass wants to shift your hips and go this way. Same thing on the other side, outside to inside crescent kick from the left leg. So he's coming. Boom. Now, shift and run, or you're already this way, so you can run that way. And the reason why I tell you that is because if you miss that kick, you're screwed. If you miss any kick, you're screwed. And a lot of people that teach martial arts aren't going to teach you these things because they probably don't know them. Mind you that I am 47 years old, and martial arts took a really fucked up ass shift in the early 2000s. For those who are younger than us Generation Xers, you probably know what the fuck I'm talking about when stand-in jiu-jitsu stopped being a thing, and now it's more like wrestling instead of jiu-jitsu. And then there's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. We're going to leave it right there. I do not like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I am not insulting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu itself. It's just that I fucking suck at it, and I know how to make sure that you will never use that shit on me. Now, there are knees and things that you can do with your hands behind your back. I do not recommend them. I recommend that you always try to escape. Other escape kicks is pretty much the same thing. It's just the inside to outside crescent kick. We're going for our left. So you're going to send your opponent in that direction, and you're going to go in that direction. Understand? So it's inside to outside crescent kick. Sorry for that left and slip. Boom. Now, he's going in that direction. You're going to go in this direction. And the reason for that is you have a better chance of running away from the opponent in a direction in which he is not able to return to. Same thing on the other side. You're going to send your opponent to my right shoulder, and you're going to go to my left. So he's coming. Boom. He's going that way. You're going that way. Now, providing did you actually nail the kick. If you miss the kick, you're in trouble. So you better make sure all your fucking kicks count. Alright? And that's the thing about fighting with your hands tied behind your back. You are limited, but you are not limited if you know what the hell you're doing. If you can sidestep and throw a knee, your target is stomach, sternum area. If not in between the chest, as you can see, I don't have enough flexibility to block shit. So your main blocks are going to be high knees or low knees into kicks, depending on the martial art in which you have studied. If you've studied Kung Fu or Wing Chun, then you already know about these low front kicks and how you can elevate them. If he's coming, you kick him in the shin, but see, that leaves you with a problem because if he falls forward, you don't have any way to block or catch him other than with a knee. If you are not strong enough in the knees, you're both going on your fucking back, which means he's going to pommel the fucking blue shit out of you. Your face is going to be black and blue because you couldn't defend yourself because your hands are tied behind your back. So a Kung Fu kick is okay. It's probably not going to be an effective ass kick unless you do a Kung Fu kick and a jumping knee right thereafter. Then you may have a chance. But again, your hands are tied behind your back. If this person outweighs you, you're probably not going to be very effective, which is why you want to do the outside to inside crescent kick and send him on his way. Boom! If you send him that way, you're going this way. And that's really the only way that you should be trying to think about going, because in case you didn't see this, your hands are tied behind your back. I know y'all keep wondering why I keep referring to that, because you have to live in the reality that your hands are tied. That is the whole point of this drill being called bound fighting. Understand how bound fighting works. Alright? The blocking here, this is a block. It is not going to be an effective block unless it is a turning round kick and you can maneuver into that kick. Or if you can absorb the blow. Yeah, you have to figure out one way or the other, because you're not going to be able to protect your fucking head when your hands are this low. Now, if you were a contortionist, this ain't even a problem for you. You know, just do your little arm thing and get the shit back over your fucking head. I am not a contortionist. I don't have the hips or the back for that shit. Now we're going to do this shit from the front if I can get my hands free, which we're having a malfunction in the junction. I think I tapped. There we go. Alright, now this way is a little bit easier. So, you have a lot more do's than you have don'ts here, because now you learn how to block. Your hands are tied in front of you. You have weapons, that's these, so that you can shove them in somebody's throat if necessary. But for now, we're not going to worry about shoving anything into anywhere. We're going to learn how to block. So you have your high block on the right, your medium block, your other medium block, and your low block. Alright, remember that. It's the same thing on the left. High, medium, medium with leg, low. And the reason why that is because these hands aren't going anywhere. So you need to know how to use them as a perfectly cohesive unit. So boom, 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 boom. Now you see that protects this entire center line, and it protects the right and left parameters of an attack. What about the guy behind you that you didn't see? That's where your problems come in. But your basic blocks for anybody in the front, you're going to have that to be there for you for the most part. So remember, both hands high left medium left with knee, low left. High right, medium right with knee, low left. Right, excuse me. So knowing that much, then you're going to be okay. However, eventually you may have to deal with two opponents. So you still have to keep this shit basic. Alright? This is okay, but it's also a don't. Guys over here. Boom, boom. Okay. If you connect, great. But you better make sure you have enough force behind that kick and the other kick to do some damage. Because both of your feet just left the ground. Which is what I said you don't really want to happen unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, if you got two guys and one's coming this way, whichever one is closest is the one you kick first. Alright? So if this guy's closer, boom! And then you step into position so you can protect yourself from this guy. Alright? Now if it's the other way, boom! Step into position so you can protect yourself from this guy. And so, let's say this guy's throwing a kick, this guy's throwing a punch, and they're both coming at the front. Boom! Alright? So your low gung fu kick, your target is anywhere here, depending on how high his kick is. Your block is here to protect from a kick or a punch coming from your opponent, just in case they watch Double Dragon and decided that they want to do a simultaneous kick attack. Yeah, so you have to be prepared for that shit. Now, here's the big time don't, because your hands are tied. You're not going to do this. Now, see, my balance was a lot better here versus when my hands was tied behind my back. Now, if you have to do a sequence attack and your hands are tied, then you should probably start with a front push kick. Boom. Then around. And then there. Alright? And the reason for that is you don't want to do anything fancy is because at one point in time, I just would have got my ass kicked. And that was not from here. Boom. When I got here, if you'd have swept my foot, there's holes here. If you'd have swept my foot, it'd have been all she wrote. So you have to understand what you can and can't do. You have to understand why you want to keep that shit at basic. Because basics win fights in the streets. I have a policy that I say. I made a video about it on my YouTube channel at Kung Fu Avenue number 2. Feel free to go there. This video will also be there. The first thing you need to understand is that when you start doing martial arts, something that they don't teach you now in the 90s and the 2000s, that I'm going to tell you right now. 70-30. Alright? Pay attention to those numbers. Martial arts is a 2,000% game. The first 1,000% is mental. 800% is physical. And 200% is probably fucking luck. Alright? Because everybody is not as good as they think they are, and everybody who thinks they're not good is better than they think they are. It's a yin-yang possibility. Now, the reason why I tell you that is because 70% of the shit you do in a dojo will only work in the dojo. 30% of the shit that you do in a dojo will work in the street. 70-30. Alright, and let me explain that for all you guys who do martial arts. You know this shit's true, you just don't want to tell your fellow students. 9 times out of 10, when you leave that dojo, you're not going to break into a fight. Now, unfortunately, if one of your students happens to live in a bad neighborhood, there's a good chance that they are going to get into a fight. That's why they're coming to you to unlock the potential that you have given them to protect themselves. In my case, I didn't have an option because my uncles made me fight as a child. So therefore, I've been fighting from the ages of 6 to 12 until my dad put a stop to it. And the last really good fight I had was when I was 15. So now that I am a vet and I have a hip replacement, a lot of my movements are down. I am not allowed to do wushu whatsoever because the fucking doctor said so. However, if my life depended on it, I'm pretty sure that I could sacrifice a hip. Plus, this hip needs to be worked on. So, you got a guy, you're going to block. If you're going to do Taekwondo, you guys know about chambering. So when you block and you chamber and you thrust out, okay? Well, when you're in a real fight, you're not going to have time for that. So when you block, you're gonna kick right there. Fuck a chamber. All right. If I pissed you off for doing Taekwondo, I'm sorry. But someone's got to tell everybody the truth. You gotta do martial arts. You need to know the truth because getting fucking punched in the face or kicked in the face fucking hurts. There's a good chance that you could die. There's a good chance that you might go to sleep. And you might wake up in the hospital 2 or 3 days later because somebody didn't tell you something while you were training. Therefore, 30, 70. When you see fancy shit like this Taekwondo tornado kick or this Kempo hurricane kick, you see them do that shit in sport karate. Alright? It's a controlled environment. You are wearing pads. You have your gloves and your hood gear and all that other shit on, and that's for your safety. Very few people miss that these days. Back in my day, I never fought in a damn tournament. I fought in the streets. I knew not to use that. That's a finishing move. I'd have to have somebody's ass beaten and hung up on the ropes to fucking pull that shit off. You also will not do this because, one, your hands are tied. So this is a reverse tornado kick. God, I hope that showed up great. If not, I'm sorry. Anyway, you're not going to do that in a fucking fight in the streets. You're not going to be able to pull that off. And all of this shit right here, guy ducks, boom. You know, you want to keep that shit simple. And the same thing with foot sweeps. You want to keep those simple. You do not want to do this foot sweep in the streets because you've turned your back to your opponent. You want to do this foot sweep. Why? Because you can still see him. If he jumps over it, you can bring it back. If he does not jump over it, then you got him. Now, the point of your hands being tied is to teach you how to fight with your hands tied. I, unfortunately, have been handcuffed twice. No, I did not have to fight like this, but I already knew that I could. Alright? Like I said, I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. Yes, I have done blindfold training. I've done blindfold training in my movie called Dragon's Breath that you will never see because I can't find the footage. But anyway, same concept. You have to understand what's going to work, what's going to save your ass in a fight, especially if your hands are tied. These outside to inside crescent kicks, they put you in a position so that you can escape. This is what this video is basically about. Bam! Now, I didn't kick the guy. He's going this way. He's by himself, so I'm going this way. I'm not going to try to engage somebody with my hands tied unless I have no choice, which you should also remember that you have a choice. If your hands are tied and you choose to engage someone, there better be a damn good reason why you stayed to fight. Like, the reason being that you had nowhere to go, there was a wall right here, and you couldn't run. So you have to engage this guy to get away from him. If not, then you're just a fucking idiot. Alright? Same thing if you come in this way. Boom! That outside to inside crescent kick has put me in a position. If I'm going to engage, I'm going to keep going this way against the guy. If I'm going to run, I'm going to go this way because my fucking hands are tied, and that's what a smart person would do instead of trying to be a fucking hero. Alright? Now, I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but I'm going to let you know, being a hero, sometimes heroes wind up in the graveyard. Try to remember that. Now, you don't have a choice, and there are some cases where you won't have a choice. So, we're going to do the crescent kick and a follow through. I am not going to move from where I land in the opposite direction. I'm going to continue the engagement. It is going to be from an inside to outside crescent kick and then the next step. Okay? Ignore the Sasquatch in my backyard. So, he's coming, inside to outside crescent kick. Boom. He's right here. I have to engage. So I'm going to double strike, which is here. If I can get a hold of an appendage, I'm going to pull him. And I'm going to put a knee into his belly, his central plane. I'm going to try to stop him from breathing. I'm 5'3.5", so I got to work fast. I'm also 47 years old. I can't be fucking around with anybody. If we're going to fight, I got to make sure that I end you before you end me. I'm sorry if that sounds exceptionally violent. Let's hope this doesn't get me banned. But at the same time, at least if it does get me banned, you will have had a lesson that you would have needed to know. Now let's say he's throwing a punch, and I block, and I pull, and I elbow. So now I got to break it down for you when you're going to turn Kung Fu and Karate at the same time. Alright, so if you don't understand this, please wait till I'm done. But Kung Fu is the simple 1 move, 2 move, 3 move. Where Karate is that 1 move and then a counter move. Where in Kung Fu and Kempo, everything is one fluent motion. So if he's throwing a punch over this side, I block. I want to be on his outside. I'm pulling his wrist. I'm elbowing him. My elbow is going to strike him somewhere in this area. And then I also have his hands. So if I don't choose to elbow him and his elbow is over here, I can pull down because I have his hands. Wrapped in this, I can snap his elbow by pushing my shoulder up and pulling his forearm down. His arm will be across my body and his elbow will be on my shoulder. So I'm going to snap it. Now, I'm going to elbow him again. And the reason is because that's the closest move that I have. He's not just going to sit there and take that shit. He has a free hand on the other side of his body. So here's where we separate Kung Fu from karate really, really quickly. The Kung Fu I was taught, so let's make sure you understand the Kung Fu I was taught, is not traditional. I do have traditional Wing Chun training. It's been upgraded because I decided to do something different than what you are normally taught with Wing Chun. So he's throwing a front punch. I'm getting to the outside. I'm breaking the elbow. I'm sliding down either the top of his arm or the bottom of his arm, and I'm striking a rib or I'm striking the throat. Now for karate, without my hands being tied, it would be a block and a counter. With my hands being tied, it would be a block and another block because he has another fucking hand. Now remember, with karate, you stand there. I'll do that in a minute. But anyway, because your hands are tied, you have to understand what's going to work best for you. So if he's here, he throws a punch, I get to the outside. Here's where I do Kung Fu. I can pull him, closest knee, closest target. All right? Versus karate, where I pull him and I add power by torquing my knee into him. All right? Hopefully I'm explaining this to y'all correctly. I'm pretty sure a lot of martial artists are giving me the finger right now. So, but right back at you and twice on Sunday. Now for Kung Fu, it was easier for me because it's what I was taught. So blocked to the outside, as in me getting to his outside. So that means his right side of his body has to cross his left side, which he cannot reach me unless he's fucking Mr. Fantastic or Plastic Man. So I don't have to worry about that. I've got him on the outside. I got his arm. I'm pulling his arm. I'm elbowing him. Or I'm pulling his arm and I'm kneeing him. That is Kung Fu. Understand? Now, if I pull him and I break his arm and I elbow him, I'm pretty sure he's going to be hurt enough that I can get him down here with his head and bring a knee. Again, more Kung Fu versus Muay Thai. Alright? But you have to understand how this shit works. Knees are in every martial art these days. Initially, they probably were more Muay Thai based, but there is not a martial art practitioner today that does not incorporate a knee or an elbow. But for the most part, if you took old school Muay Thai, then you use a lot of forearms and elbows. Now, with your hands tied, it's not impossible to throw an elbow. It's not impossible to throw a forearm. The problem is your opponent. And you have to remember that in all fights, the problem is your opponent. It's not so much your skill, but it's your opponent and their skill. If you're fighting somebody who's never fought before, you're going to mop the floor with their ass. If you're fighting somebody who's got a little bit of skills, it's going to be a problem. Your problem is, how do I survive it? How do I make the difference? How do I get through this shit in one piece? My hands are tied. Understand that. So, again, high block pull elbow, or a high block pull knee, or high block break elbow, fist him this way. You will figure that shit out. But you want to keep that shit basic. As you notice, my feet rarely left the ground other than with the pull and knee, or the pull and knee. When we did the crescent kick, there was only one foot that left the ground. Boom! Now I set him in this direction because he's running, so his momentum is carrying him in the direction that I guide him with my fucking foot. So when I kick him and he goes this way, I'm going this way because my hands are tied. And I am not going to sit here and try to go one-on-one with somebody whose hands are not tied, especially if I don't have enough fighting skills behind me or enough strength to carry on. Because you don't know how you got into the situation. You just know from me that your hands are tied. You could have got kidnapped 3 days ago and haven't had food or water or anything, so you're going to be fucking tired because fatigue is a thing. So you need to remember that one little kick might be all you had. So you need to get the fuck out of Dodge, period, instead of trying to be a fucking hero. You know, it's just the honest to God thing here. You know, he's coming at you, he's running, boom, you sent him in that direction. If there's nothing here, like you're not inside of a building, you're like outside, you're gonna run. And it will be the best damn thing that has ever happened to you. Sorry, little bug. You got in my way. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to take these off now. And I'm just going to go a little bit longer because it's almost time for me to walk these dogs that don't belong to me. But I'm going to do that anyway. So now I'm going to show you minor differences with the karate and kung fu that I learned. I'm not going to say what you all know because I don't know what you know. I really don't care to know what you know unless you're going to give me pointers to add to my repertoire so that I can use it on other people, which is why I took so many different martial arts, which, by the way, you should always take more than one martial art just in case. The more you know, the safer you are. All right? So, karate, you start here. All right? You also know that you got this block and counter. 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 You have this block and strike. Now, where did I just fuck up? It's still karate, but it was becoming more towards kung fu because it was simpler for me to block and then strike. But see, your opponent has another hand. Alright? So if I block and strike and he doesn't block it, he has a good chance that his open hand is going to come around and hit me as I go for a strike here. So it would kind of look more like this so that you guys can see it. Block and strike, which also is Wing Chun. But for karate purposes, it was block, strike. Which in regular karate, it's block and then strike. And then block and then strike. You guys know the fucking dance. You've seen Hilary Swank do it in Karate Kid 4, whatever. Here, that shit. And, how is it? Here. Karate. I suck at karate now. So I stick to kung fu. That's kung fu's easier for my old ass. Now, you have your animal styles. You're not going to really engage in a lot of animal styles unless you're fighting someone who doesn't know animal styles. So you got your tiger, you have your dragon, you got your mantis, you have your snake, you have your crane. Alright? You also have your drunken master, but you also have capoeira. Knowing what martial arts can counter other martial arts is very helpful. So if someone breaks into you with capoeira, but you only know Chinese kung fu, you go drunken master. It is an equal equivalent to capoeira with the exception that capoeira is super flashy where drunken master is not. And you can also go into drunken master and use elements of wushu, i.e. tornado kicks, hurricane kicks, reverse tornado kicks, and everything else. The problem with that is the capoeira guy is going to be lightning fucking fast. You need to test this motherfucker and make sure that he makes a mistake. In the event that you are not smart or fast enough to do that, the weakness to capoeira is also its strength. Because everything in capoeira starts with that jinga. You have to be able to read that person's jinga. Alright? So if he's going, yeah, you gotta watch out for shit like that. I don't have time for that. So when he gets here, if his block's not strong, boom, I'm kicking him. Some people jinga really, really fucking low. So you have to understand those levels of jinga. You got the people who have no range, so their jinga's here. You got people who have a lot of range, their jinga's here. You got those fucking aces, it's way down here. Those are the guys you gotta worry about. Because they're gonna go from here, from when they get here, to that wheel kick. So you have to worry about shit like that. And you need to be prepared for shit like that. Because that shit's not coming as slow as I just did that shit. That shit's coming at a whole nother speed that I do not have. So when he starts jinging, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see what he does. So if he throws a kick and I can block it, good. If he throws a cartwheel kick and I can block it, good. I'm halfway there. But in this cartwheel kick, he has one hand on the ground, there's one foot in the air. So my target is fucking head. Because he's doing this shit. Let me see if I can still fucking do it. Don't laugh if I fall on my face. This is live. So from here, he's here. He's doing that shit. So in that motion, you can block and kick him with the gung fu kick to the face. Boom. You can be nasty, block, sweep. I almost fell, but you get the gist. You can block him and sweep him. You can do a lot of shit. So you have to understand, this is why I said you have to take lots of different martial arts so that you can be prepared to fight different martial artists with their style. Alright? Going against a guy who does crane. He's doing the crane. Excuse me, I got off frame a little bit. So he's got crane, and he's going here. Now, what do you have? You have mantis. You have snake. All right? And if you want to be really nasty, you can go dragon. You can go tiger. You can do those. I'm going to advise if he's going crane, you really should go snake, or crane, or mantis. Those three are somewhat similar in certain motions and certain moves. So if you can match those things, you could probably take this motherfucker out. Sorry for spitting. A lot of bugs. Try not to swallow them. Now, the thing is, once you recognize the style, you need to be able to go with that style. All right? Now, let's talk about some judo before I get off of here. So, if you've been taught old school judo, like me, 80s kid, it got those to punch, and you block and you throw. It's a whole lot easier to throw him off of one leg than two. So when you catch him, you kick with that back foot to one of his feet, like shin areas, and he's going to be in pain. So he's already about to bend over, so you're halfway there. After you flip him, boom, and you can switch back to karate and just punch him in the fucking face. Yeah, sorry for cussing. You have to understand, when you're dealing with martial arts, there are different types of martial artists. Different type of martial arts, different type of martial artists. I'm going to say this before I go, and this is one thing that I will say until I die. I will piss off every martial artist on the planet with this, and if y'all don't like this saying, you don't have to follow it. You don't have to agree. But unlike everyone else, I'm not going to lie about this shit. There is no such thing as a superior martial art. There are superior martial artists in those arts, but there is no such thing as a superior martial art. And if you think about that shit when you go to sleep, think about how many different styles there are. If there was one fucking art that was superior, do you think everybody would be taking it? Of course they would, because it's a superior martial art. That's why that shit's bullshit. There are superior martial artists. You can be the baddest JKD motherfucker there is and come in contact with the baddest TKD motherfucker and get your ass beat. Because it's more about the person doing the martial art versus the martial art itself. That's something that you all should take into consideration. I'm going to stop my YouTube, and if you guys got questions, I will try to answer them now because it is almost time for me to go take these damn dogs out. So, for Kung Fu Havoc number 2, thanks for watching.